Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. So here we are. It is Erev Shabbos, Erev Yom Tov. We're at the end of the Omer, just about. We're on the precipice of Matan Torah, and today we will conclude our series on the laws and customs of Shavuos. You'll understand why I saved this for last, because it's a custom / halacha / practice, which I'm not particularly fond of, but those of you who know me know why, and it is the custom of eating dairy and perhaps honey also on Shavuos. So let's dive right in. Rabim nohagu od mitkuvas harishonim lifnei yosim yishesh me'os shana le'achol b'chag haShavuos ma'achalei chalav u'devash. Already from the time of the Rishonim, more than 600 years ago, there are those who had the custom to eat dairy and honey on Shavuos. Mikar haminig ba'Ashkenaz v'Tzarfas, the source of this minhag in Germany and in France, umisham hispashet lekilos rabas b'Yisrael. It began in those areas and then spread to the rest of Israel. Ulam yesh she'enim noagim ezeh, kabom rabim ma'olei Teman, Luv, Jerba, Bukharia, Paras. He says, however, this is not a fully widespread custom that perhaps many in Yemenite and those other places, Bukharian and perhaps Persian Jews, do not have this custom. Kamatamim niskru leminhag. So there are a number of reasons given for why people eat dairy. Yesh omrim nesha Torah nimshal ledevash v'chalav. Some say because the Torah is compared to honey and to dairy. Shene emar, devash v'chalav tachas l'shonech. The pasuk in Shir Hashirim says exactly that honey and milk, in the comparison of Torah, in your mouth. V'amru chachamim b'sha'ah she'amdu lefnei harsina v'amru kol asher diber Hashem na'aseh v'nishma ba'os hashah amar lam HaKadosh Baruch Hu devash v'chalav tachas l'shonech. And the Medrash continues that when the Jewish people said na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen, at that moment God said that pasuk of devash v'chalav, honey and milk, tachas l'shonech, on your tongues. Kolomar, what does this mean? Bizchus haskamasam shel Yisrael lekabel es haTorah b'lo pikpuk. In the merit of the Jewish people's agreement to accept the Torah without condition. Yehu divrei haTorah misukim b'fihem kedvash v'chalav. The words of Torah should be sweet in their mouths, like honey and like milk. Ukedei lahazkir es misikusa v'chavivasa shel haTorah. And in order to remember and to remind ourselves of the sweetness and the dearness and the love of Torah, Nogin lechol b'chag haShavuos ugos chalav, we have a custom to eat on Shavuos cakes that are dairy, te'imos that are tasty, umusukos that are sweet, uma'acholim mesukim b'dvash, and things that are sweetened with honey. And just parenthetically speaking, we usually associate the custom on Shavuos of eating dairy. We don't often associate the honey part of it. But on this reason, it's perhaps even the honey might be more important. Rav continues, Od b'yamaran Rav Kook, he quotes from Rav Kook, Shechalav u'devash hem shnei ma'achalim shenotzrim midavar tamei. Milk and honey are two foodstuffs that originate from a non-pure item. Hadavash notzar midvarim shehem sheretz tamei. Of course, honey that comes from bees, which is not a pure, it's not a kosher species. V'hachalav notzar midam she'osr ba'achila. And milk, which ultimately comes from the innards of the animal, which comes from blood, is also prohibited. And certainly and specifically, because they revert from impurity to purity, so they have a unique taste, which indicates, as we've said many times here in these sessions, the real notion of tikkun olam, of repairing the world, of showing the beauty of mitzvahs and Torah in the world. V'zui sugulasa shel haTorah. And this is the choice part of the Torah. Shemisakenes es hasadorim haraim sheba'olam, v'taveles es hayetzer hara v'hafechas haso latov. Because Torah takes all the evil aspects of the world, and it flavors the evil inclination, and it turns the evil into good. V'zui gam sugulasa shel Eretz Yisrael. And this is why the same moniker is given to the land of Israel. Valkein hinikreis Eretz Zavas Chalav Udevash, and that's why the land of milk and honey is what's used to describe the land of Israel. Od Tam Huskar, yet another reason. Sh'alidei achilas ma'achalei chalav yitztarchu la'achin shnei lechamim. Through eating dairy foods, we have to prepare two different types of bread. You have to prepare bread for a dairy meal and bread for a meat meal. What he means is that we cannot use the same bread for both milk and dairy meals. So since you have to have two, a milk meal which has its own bread and a meat meal which has its own bread, it reminds us of what's known as the shtei halechem, which was brought on the two showbreads which were brought on Shavuos. Od amru, shekach nogo avosenu b'zman matan Torah, shalachar shenizgalu lehem kol hadinim hamrubim hakruchim b'achilas habasar k'shchita b'dikas hasakin terefos u'malicha hadifu lacham achal chalav shemutar below hachanas merubos. And furthermore, we are told that when the Jewish people received the laws of the Torah at Sinai, and they realized when it comes to preparing meat, it's very involved, the process. The laws of ritual slaughter, shchita, the laws of what kind of knife you could use and how you have to check it, the laws of treifas in animals, salting the animals. So they realized, you know what, it's easier or it's better, we should eat dairy because it's easier to prepare without all of those steps. And in commemoration of this, we also eat dairy foods because at the time of Matan Torah they ate dairy for this reason. Or perhaps they didn't have the right utensils, etc. And this is always the question, that on every Yom Tov, the requirement of rejoicing on Yom Tov is usually defined in one of many aspects, but in a major aspect of eating meat. So therefore we have to be very careful in the laws of separating between milk and meat. So by presenting ourselves with a dairy meal and understanding that we have to be careful not to mix the dairy meal with the meat meal and the utensils, etc., it just also illustrates and indicates to us and reminds us of how important and how dear the laws of the Torah are. Many have the custom to eat in the Suda, in the meal of Shavuos, both milk and meat. Some people do it in the daytime meal. And some people do this in the nighttime meal. How does this work? At first, they eat a dairy item. In order to separate between milk and meat, you can't just go straight from one to the other. So people make sure to brush their teeth or to eat a piece of bread or an apple or something that is hard. And not only that, but you have to also rinse one's mouth out well. And by this, they're able to cleanse the mouth and really clean it out from any leftover parts of milk that might have. And then they switch the tablecloth, and then they set the table anew and have the fleishik meal. And he says, certainly without saying it, must be, obviously it goes, that one does not start with the meat part, because then you cannot have dairy right away, because for most of us, in Menag Ashkenaz, we have a period of 6 hours that we wait between eating meat and milk. Furthermore, many who stay awake all night studying Torah, as we have mentioned, as soon as they finish davening in the morning, it's, let's say, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, they have kiddush, and they have, let's say, dairy cakes. Of course, the cheesecake is the favorite. And then they go to sleep. And then when they wake up from their non-sleep that they had during the night, and they're trying to recover from the all-night learning, they wake up for lunchtime, let's say, but it's Seudas Yom Tov, then they will have a meat meal then. The most important thing is to fulfill the mitzvah of rejoicing on the holiday. Because all of these customs, they're instituted so that we can increase the rejoicing on the holiday and the honor that we give to the Torah. So whatever your custom might be, some people eat all dairy meals, some people eat both, as we have mentioned, some people eat all meat meals, some people don't care for dairy or cannot have dairy. Whatever the case is, the important thing is that we have to have kavod HaTorah and simcha on the Yom Tov. Friends, this is exactly the reason why we've been doing these study sessions, so that we can increase our knowledge, we could have greater kavod, greater honor for the Torah, greater understanding of the Chagim, and this will allow us to rejoice even more. So I want to thank you all for listening. As we conclude this series on Shavuos, we will continue after Yom Tov B'li Neder with a new series. Any suggestions for topics, I am certainly open to hearing them, but in the meantime, have a wonderful Shabbos, a wonderful Yom Tov, 3-day Yom Tov for us here in the diaspora, 2 in the state of Israel, Eretz Yisrael. Again, we should all be zocheh to have a wonderful Kabbalas HaTorah and a meaningful, uplifting, inspiring Chag.